As a conscientious gardener, I love insects. Bugs of all kinds call my garden home, and for the most part, we're both okay with each other. In fact, it's often a little one-sided, with me needing them more than they need me. Sometimes, though, it gets a little out of hand, and certain types take it upon themselves to become unwanted guests. Sure, we can spray to get rid of the unwanted invaders, but that isn't always the best solution. Even natural, safe insecticides are almost always broad spectrum, and they're going to take out the beneficial guys that are on our side as well. There has to be a better way. Fortunately, there is, and it's called trap crops, like this purple oyster plant here. Specific plants that grow side by side with our main crops, sacrificing themselves for the greater good. Today, let's look at how trap crops work in keeping unwanted pests away from your favorite veggies. As well, we'll look at a few examples of them in action in my garden right now. Hey, let's try and use a little bit less of this year and strike a better balance in how we grow our food. What exactly is a trap crop? Well, simply put, trap crops are sacrificial plants that live in your garden with the sole purpose to attract pests away from your main plants. These special plants are more desirable for specific pests, and they'll choose to attack them instead of your vegetables. A true sacrifice. Pretty straightforward in theory, but in practice, there's a few things we have to consider. The first is that specific trap crops attract specific pests. Nasturtiums and oyster plants are going to attract and trap aphids, while collard greens and this kale here are going to attract and trap cabbage worms away from your main brassicas. Find out what pests you want to trap first, and then find the corresponding plant. The second is vicinity. Trap crops really do need to be in the area to be the most effective. For some trap crops, they need to be in the thick of it, interplanted with your main plants, while others just need to be in the vicinity, and that's good enough. This one may take some experimentation for your area, your garden, and your particular set of pests. Although trap crops are highly effective, it's not really an exact science. In gardening, timing is everything, and it's no different than when trying to set up your trap crops. Pest invasions and outbreaks always seem to happen at specific intervals. As well, you're going to be growing your crops at specific times. The pests, the trap crop, and the main crop. It's important to sync all three. It really is important to have the trap crop growing and already established so that it's ready to go when you need it. As well, trap crops are great at collecting pest invaders all into one area. Unfortunately though, sometimes that's not enough. Beneficial predators such as ladybugs and wasps still need to be present and active to do their part for population control. In the rare cases that the pest population outgrows what the backyard can handle, simply cut off the most effective branches and stems and dispose of them far away from the garden. The trap crops have done all the trapping. It's your job to do the rest. Okay, now that we have a better understanding of what trap crops are and what they're capable of, let's have a look at some of the more popular ones out there, as well what pests and what vegetables to pair them with. The first, of course, is gonna be aphids. These soft-bodied nuisances, often protected by an army of ants, tend to be public enemy number one in our gardens. They'll attack pretty much any vegetable crop you grow, and there's around 5,000 species worldwide. For me, nasturtiums, oyster plant, and young blackberries are the top trap crops for aphids. Borage, calendula, and even these radishes here have been known to be effective as well. Next up, we got cabbage worms. By far, the brassica's worst offender. Brassicas are all of your cruciferous favorites. Broccoli, Brussels sprouts, and of course this cauliflower here. To lure cabbage worms, or more importantly, the egg-laying moths, away from your fruiting brassicas, simply plant the leafy ones. Collard greens and kale, such as this dinosaur here, work the best, and they're really easy to grow. Sacrifice a few of them to save the many. Now, one of the universally worst offenders out there has got to be slugs. Like aphids, these guys are going to attack everything. No crop is safe, but they seem to prefer strawberries, lettuce, spinach, and all the leafy greens. For these guys, parsley and cilantro are highly effective, but as a non-flying muncher, a slug's range is magnitudes lower than that of other pests. So you may need multiple close proximity plantings for it to work its best. This next group of pests I've been very fortunate to avoid in all the years that I've been growing, but I had to include them on this list because of how rampant they are for all you squash growers out there. That's right, we're talking squash bugs, cucumber beetles, and squash vine borers. No doubt a squash grower's nightmare list of pests. But just like with the brassicas, the best way to protect your squash plants is with another squash plant. The blue Hubbard squash to be exact. Due to its aggressive growth habits and lush foliage, Hubbard squash plants are highly attractive to pests looking to feast on all your cucurbits. For best results, plant this guy 2 to 3 weeks before your other squash plants and fairly close together. This will make it a much more effective trapper. Although this is just scratching the surface of the many trap crop combinations out there, no single video could cover them all. However, we did cover a lot, so let's recap those main points to make sure we got them. Trap crops, valuable companion plants that sacrifice themselves for the greater good of the garden. Easy, economical, effective. But more importantly, they reduce the need to spray harmful, broad-spectrum chemicals. Hopefully today, all the benefits and examples that we shared of trap crops give you new tools to keep you and your garden healthier than ever. Hey, as always, happy growing, guys, and I'll see you in the next one. Hey, thanks so much for watching, guys. Truly, this channel wouldn't exist without passionate gardeners like you. For even more info-packed videos like this, check out this playlist of garden quickies here. And for those of you that are interested, my online course, Vegetable Gardening Basics, is live and ready for enrollment. As always, happy growing, and I'll see you in the next one.